So I think the sales folks that will truly succeed are the ones that optimize their time with AI, but still invest their relationship, rapport building time with the human beings.
Welcome to the Making Sales Social podcast, featuring the top voices in sales, marketing, and business. Join Bryn Tillman and me, Bob Woods, as we each bring you the best tips and strategies our guests are teaching their clients, so you can leverage them for your own virtual and social selling. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Making Sales Social. I am beyond thrilled to have Rena Denoda join me today. She is a renowned sales leader known for transforming sales teams and smashing revenue targets. Who does not love that? Rena brings a wealth of experience in empowering teams, building confidence, and fostering environments where sales professionals can truly excel. Rena, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Finn, for having me. Very excited to be here.
I am too. I am so excited to jump into some of your magic. But before we do that, we ask all of our guests, the first question is, what does making sales social mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so making sales social for me, it just really is about building genuine connections and genuine relationships. I think relationship building and data-driven strategy, like to create more connected human processes, is what speaks out to me as a sales leader and especially as a business owner. It's really just about fostering that trust, right? That transparency and relevance really in every interaction. Turning sales from a transactional type of sell, which, back in the days it used to be, to more of a partnership that involves like real problems for clients and real conversations and really just understanding. In a social world today, especially like all LinkedIn and Twitter, Meta, whatever everybody's using, a strong network really is one of the most valuable assets. This year I spent a lot of time on growth and building my network. And so it really showed me the true value of having a strong network. I think for me, it just really just allows my team and myself to really just stay in tune with everything that's going on in the industry, right? Any shifts, position ourselves as trusted advisors, rather than just sellers. And so by leveraging social platforms, which help us make social, that's a tricky one. We're able to really just share
SOCILs.
Yeah, we're really just like sharing insights, right? And talking about real-time things and just being raw in it.
So I love that. It's really, and the interesting thing is, I think there's not much difference between real life social and social media if you do it right? It's about building that rapport. So I love that. A great answer. So, one of the things when learning about you is, I noticed how instrumental you are in turning around sales teams and significantly boosting performance. Can you share a little bit about kind of some of the first steps that you take when you start working with a team who's struggling a little bit, and what do you do in just getting started in transforming those teams?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my first priority is always going to be like understanding the unique dynamics of the team itself, right? Everybody starts from different sections, but just that true understanding of what's happening. You should spend a lot of your time observing, just understanding what the overall goals and of the teams are of the companies and see if they're aligning. But I really just start with a deep dive into what's working and what's not working, right? By listening to each team member, reviewing processes, going through data sets, right? Just analyzing performance data. And with that and that foundation, I can quickly just identify quick wins that can build confidence and boost motivation. And then this approach just, I think for me, it brings the team together to just under like one shared vision of empowering them to be successful, and then just really creating the culture where each person sees themselves as a essential part of the team.
So I love that culture is part of this, right? I think it's so important that people feel connected, and culture is a big piece of that. I'm curious if you have any stories or, of either a salesperson or a team that you've helped exceed their revenue where culture was kind of a part of that?
Yeah, that's something that's kind of near and dear to me. I think I really pride myself in the ability to like coach my team up, not to just their numbers, right? But just to exceed their own goals that they never not thought was possible, right? Like owning a new house or things like that. So I'll never forget like one of my reps who was incredibly talented or is incredibly talented or truly felt stuck. We focused a lot on like just redefining their approach and like getting to the root of what was holding them back. In this case, confidence. It was really tackling their high stakes, like tackling their confidence was a big thing for us. And a lot of my coaching just surrounded that, and we outlined a tailored plan, did a few role plays to get them a little bit more confident, tackled objections head on. It's really exciting because that quarter they not only hit, but they surpassed their revenue goals. And so the success was just really just unlocking their belief in themselves and seeing them move beyond what they thought was possible. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I really love that. And, we can teach sales techniques and sales skills all day long, but I love that you really help them to believe in their own ability. That
Mhm.
is forever lasting, right? That is not, I've taught them a thing,
Right.
but you've helped them to really see their potential. And I think that could be some of the most powerful teachings that anyone can offer a sales professional or any professional for that matter. So thank you for that. I love that story. Talk a little bit about, if you're looking ahead, right? And we know that sales and sales leadership is evolving, right? Between AI and tools, which are great in some ways because it can help in investment in technology, but it can also make sales reps lazy in other places. So talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing, and I hate to use the word prediction, but based on your experience, where do you think kind of that market dynamic is moving?
Yeah, AI is going to come, right? AI is going to be here. You have to make sure that you're using AI and in just different ways, but also just putting your personal spin on everything, right? AI is not going to replace the human. I think everybody keeps talking about it. They think they can. I mean, look at Tesla with this new robot, right? But really just learning how to like balance using AI, right? With just keeping your same own human connection is going to be where everybody wins.
So I agree with that. I think everyone needs to adopt
Mhm.
AI and leverage it. And one of the things, I think about a lot is, there are a lot of non-customer facing things that we can take some shortcuts on it,
Yeah,
as long as we're getting the right output. Helping us to draft some emails as long as we have parameters, right? Like, and examples of other emails so that it's in our
right,
company voice and all those things. I truly deeply believe that nothing will ever replace the relationship. It
right.
just, there's nothing that can replace the relationship. So I think the sales folks that will truly succeed are the ones that optimize their time with AI, but still invest their relationship, rapport building time with the human beings.
Yeah,
That's
I 100% agree.
Yeah, so that's awesome. There are a lot of barriers that prevent sales professionals from reaching kind of their full potential. One of them you talked about already is kind of that mindset. What are
Mhm.
some of the other challenges that you're seeing from reps that just simply get them stuck, right? That they plateau somewhere, or they might have been doing well and now they're in a lull. What are some of those challenges? And so, what are some of the things that you teach them that can help them kind of overcome those barriers?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned it earlier. I think there's two big barriers I think that come to mind. And that first one is going to be that mindset that you were talking about, right? The lack of confidence or self-belief can really just hinder someone's, like even the most professional person or skilled person. And so just
Yeah.
focusing on, empowering that environment. The other piece of it is just around sometimes team members, people are just unsure on how to use the resources available to them
Yeah.
and do that effectively, right? And for me, I'm a big resource hog. I really believe in like pulling different resources to understand, how we can win in certain scenarios and winning as a village. And so when you are able to be a good sales leader, I think, part of your role is really just identifying those gaps and ensuring that the team has what they need to feel prepared. Right. And so feel prepared, feel engaged, feel inspired, whatever the case may be. I think this is kind of like a shout out that I want to give to Roderick, who I met you through, which is really awesome.
Yes, he's fabulous.
Yeah, he's a good friend and he's just an awesome person. But his book is something that I have read multiple times or listened to. For me, actually, I love listening to it. But he
I'm an
talks
audio
just
person too.
yeah, he really just talks about like how it really just helps your approach to overcoming like those challenges, right? Especially around like empowering teams and like building a strong foundation for growth and things like that. Um, what he talks about there is super, super influential, and I love it. One of the things that he says is one of the best lessons I've learned you know, from him, not one of the things he says, but one of the things I like to say is one of the best things I learned from from Roderick is just the importance on really just focusing on building sustainable practices that really help their reps just reach their full potential.
So I think that's awesome. Now, I know that you've helped build sales teams in larger companies, and you also help companies build their smaller, like startup from
Startup, yeah.
CEO that's a salesperson becoming a sales leader. When would you tell a CEO that, it's time for you to focus on being a CEO and stop being your number one salesperson and let's bring in a salesperson to help here? Like what
Yeah.
yeah, when does that happen?
I mean, for me, I'm just always persistent. So for me, naturally it just happens right away just because
Right.
I'm always been a helpful like I always want to help people and lead the way that I can. I had a great mentor previously before that. I think everything they did for me just is everything I try to do for everybody else now. But really when the time to just say, hey, let me buckle down, let me get that role, right? And let's find a new sales executive is when you start to become that face of the customer. I think for me, a lot of the times people are initially in startup phase, bringing in the CEO, bringing in different executives. But I came to a point in a previous company where it was always just a tap on my shoulder, people coming over to me. And now that was taking a lot of time for me, right?
Mhm.
My business development people were coming to me, the engineering team was coming to me, and I'm like, knock, knock, knock. I think it's my time.
Yeah, so that's awesome. What would you say to a business leader? I mean, this is what I hear, right? Like I'm the only one that can do this. It's not true, but they think it, right? I guess they're like kind of micromanaging it. And how do you move them from the mindset of I am the salesperson to I am the sales leader?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say, I mean, micromanagement is a tough thing to deal with, right? And so,
I know that you go in and you'll help people do that, right? Make that transition. Am I right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So when you sit down with that CEO and you're just like, okay, here's how to rethink your role as a sales leader versus as the frontline salesperson. Like, what are you
yeah,
talking to them about? How do you get them to make the mindset shift?
the AE you're telling me, right?
So you're hiring in an AE, right? You're saying
Mm-hmm.
Mr. or Mrs. or Miss CEO. You've been selling this whole time, and now you need to move into a sales leadership role and have someone doing the grunt work.
Mhm.
right? How do you get to the mind? Okay, so that's where I am. So I'm asking this question, right? Like, I think, okay, I'm really the only one that sells. I mean, I have great team members, but they're not salespeople. So much of my time is selling where it should be doing. So what would you say to me to say, get out of your head and lead a team, not just be the team?
Yeah. I think I would just ask them to trust the process, right? I think what they did was they hired you or, for a reason. And you need to be able to let go and be able to trust that your team is going to take care of you, right? A lot of the times it's, the CEOs, they don't realize, and I'm a business owner myself and I have people under me, but they don't realize that, or I I haven't realized that, it's okay to trust. And I brought this person on because I trust that in their ability to do what, I typically would do. And so just really letting go of that piece and I think somehow getting them to trust that the people in place are capable.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. It's an interesting situation because there's no way a business leader can scale
Mhm.
if
Doing
you
all of
just
it.
run out of time. You run out
Yeah.
of time, right?
Mhm.
So to scale a business, you have to be able to give that over. So is that where you come in and help? And so tell me, I guess let's move into how do you help your clients? Let's ask that.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, if I'm talking about my own company, right? Our company itself is real estate investment company, right? And so we do a lot of property management. I have different property managers on my team. And so for me, it was wasting a lot of time going from property to property and meeting different, people that are in the market for that. And I was wasting a lot of time traveling to try to go around and be that person. And so how I help them is really just to build confidence in my own team members and just say, I'm putting my trust in them. And so you're going to be in great hands, right? It's a little bit different coming from a sales like tech side, right? Or sales SaaS space or anything like that.
Mhm, mhm.
But in my company itself, which is just real estate investment, that's where I stand.
Okay, great. Awesome. So for our listeners who are aspiring to build their own successful teams the way you have, what advice would you give them to just start off on the right foot?
Yeah, I would just say invest in the people, the process, the purpose, right? And start by hiring and developing individuals who believe in your mission and who are driven to grow. Growth is a big thing for me. Structure is really essential, establishing clear, achievable goals and just having a repeatable process that everyone can really just rally around. And then finally, keep the purpose at the forefront, right? People have
Mhm.
guiding principles nowadays. And that is that purpose, right? And their mission. And so when team members know their work matters, it really just motivates them to move beyond the numbers. I think also on a personal note, right? I am currently exploring and just opened up actively looking for new opportunities. So I just want to call that out there to get the W-2, right? And so just this approach isn't really important. This is what I'm going to be looking for on my next role to bring, so that I can achieve like the same success that I had previously before.
That's awesome. So thank you so much. My last question is there a question I should have asked you that I didn't?
I think I would just say maybe just what initially motivates me. I'm a mom first. And so I like when people ask question about me. Everybody likes to talk about themselves, right?
Yeah. All right. So tell me, what is the number one parenting tip that you have that crosses over into the business world?
Oh, yeah. Negotiation. That's more of a joke, but
Yeah, I
it is
love that.
true. Yeah, negotiation. The other one is just really just understanding your time, right? And so being able to hold yourself accountable to time spent from being a mom and time spent, being a sales leader and an owner, and recognizing that, hey, you have to set office hours and you have to be able to adhere to your calendars because I have 3 kids. They all have different schedules. They all have different activities. And it sometimes gets overwhelming with my business and as a sales leader. So
Yeah. So I love that. And really you never get that time back. So you've got to be able to make sure that you're balancing it and you're not sacrificing one for the other. So I
Right.
think that's great. So if our listeners are like, boy, I would love to have a conversation with Rena, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn, hit connect, let them know that, coming through Bryn and listen to the podcast. And I'm happy to have conversations about almost everything.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time and your insights. And I know whatever company you land with will be very lucky. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for all our listeners, when you're out and about, don't forget to make your sales social.
Don't miss an episode. Visit socialsaleslink.com/podcast. Leave a review down below. Tell us what you think, what you learned, and what you want to hear from us next. Register for free resources at linkedinlibrary.com. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play. Visit our website, socialsaleslink.com, for more information.